All right, guys, what's going on? It's Thursday night, and we are live once again. This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you. No longer a bush, as you can see on my head, because I got a nice haircut yesterday. I forgot to mention that in my NXT review earlier this morning. But here we are again. It's Thursday night. I'm doing two streams tonight. I'm doing this one now. It's a double feature for the stream. I'll explain why. And then if you guys are interested, at around 11 o'clock tonight, I'm going to do a second stream to talk some baseball. Because I haven't talked some baseball for a while on this channel. So I wanted to do that at 11 o'clock. In case you guys are interested, you may join me there as well. So we're this week's special stream. As I mentioned, probably in the upcoming weeks in July. Hardly it's already August, right? Years flying by so fast. But since it's Summerslam season and we're in August, I thought that my streams up until Summerslam will be dedicated to something towards Summerslam. Now, here's the original idea. I originally was going to do my top 10 moments this week. Next week's going to be top 10 best and worst matches of SummerSlam of all time. And the following week, I was going to do a best and worst of all the SummerSlams of all time. Of taking maybe a top 5 or top 10 best and a top 5 or top 10 worst, depending on how I rate it. I'll go back and see what the ratings I gave for the SummerSlams I did in my summer review series. But then I realized there was another one I wanted to do, SummerSlam Hidden Gems, which is pretty much just underrated matches. So then I thought about it, and at first I was going to scratch the SummerSlam Moments stream. But then I thought, because at first thing, some stuff we're going to be talking about anyways, with the matches and the SummerSlam. So then I thought, what? Still do the moments. I feel there's going to be some stuff that could be overlooked in the moments. For the moments when we talk about just the SummerSlams overall. And then I thought, let's do that and do the hidden gems. I'm doing the best and worst for the other two anyway. So why not do two greats tonight, as in, again, the best moments for SummerSlam and then the great and then the hidden gems as well, which by hidden gems, here's the thing. When I was figured, I've laid out all my lists for everything except for the top 10 best and worst SummerSlam so far. I've laid out my list for my matches and worst matches, still do so by matches already. I didn't just go with what I would have picked from 11 to 20 on my rating scale for the hidden gems. I picked matches that may not have been up that high, but there was one note in my list that I picked that was an honorable mention for being in the top 10, which is my number 1 on the hidden gems list. But I want to go with some matches that I feel aren't as talked about. For ones that wouldn't be considered one of the greatest in the top 25 rounds. Something probably not as high, but we're still good matches that you still appreciate for seeing, but they don't get talked about as much. So that's what we're going to do when it comes to the stream. We're going to do two streams. First, we'll do the top 10, two parts of the stream. The first one will be a top 10 SummerSlam moments. The second half will be a top 10 SummerSlam hidden gems. So, of course, everybody is texting me now. Well, it's just my mother. But anyways, so let's get right to it as we at least see who we got here in the live chat first, just to see how everyone's doing tonight. How you doing? We got Mr. Robbie One Kenobi in his Jericho's voice saying, "Hit me in the head, Mike! Hit me in the head!" Shit, Paige is a drunk. Paige is a drunk. We wouldn't want to say Paige is a drunk, but neither is my father also. But yeah, that's what Jericho's trying to do. The Punk. I still love that moment. Hope that brings some laughter to you after 3 horrible hours of Raw on Monday. It definitely did, Rob. And also with how good SmackDown, NXT, and 205 Live were this week, I definitely got that bad taste washed out from Raw. And also shaved all those memories again, as I said before, with getting my hair cut on Tuesday. Again, no longer a bushhead, guys. So, Mike, what's worse, big ass or WWE balls? I mean, I want to go with the WWE balls thing, because here's the thing. Yes, big Cass blocked off the C. Yeah, big ass. Everybody has an ass. It's a butt. I know everybody has, balls and whatever, but just how WWE still went out of their way and made even the logo for that pay-per-view look a little bit suggestive. Also, I would have to say WWE balls is worse than big ass. Or Big Kaz, as Dakota's mentioning, because that's his new indie name, as he's told me before. And he says, "Did you hear what Lesnar did to Heyman, that's a sign that Heyman is going to turn on Brock at SummerSlam. I heard that Brock's final 3 appearances for WWE are the Raw before SummerSlam, SummerSlam, and the Raw after. Well, again, it would be cool if they did that, but, you know, again, it's not you, man, but again, it's the same. WWE writers, I don't trust them unless I absolutely see them, especially on Raw. Because I've been telling a lot of people whenever I talk wrestling to anybody, Raw to me is on lockdown until Roman Reigns have that big moment dethroning Brock Lesnar. Until that happens, nothing's going to be right on Raw, as I say. But we're going here to talk about some good stuff. Also, do you think Lashley will beat Elias at SummerSlam and he feels bad for Booby Lashley or Bobby Lashley or Bob? Here's the thing. Bobby Lashley better not lose. I mean, yeah, I like Elias, but Bobby Lashley is on another level as far as, you know, wrestling-wise with Elias. If Bobby Lashley would lose to Elias after beating Roman Reigns and not getting a title opportunity, but having to fight him again and have Roman beat him, it's 1-1 now, guys. How is it going to turn who's a better man, I feel? Because, you know, Bobby Lashley didn't need to really prove himself that much coming back to WWE. He didn't. But yeah, he better not lose to Elias at SummerSlam. And yes, haircut. Did you hear Roman is slowly winning over the WWE Universe? Apparently, with the rumors of people are, you know, people are getting. There's rumors. I don't know. I deny that. I don't think that they would be truly stupid if they would do this. But apparently, they're paying people to cheer Roman. I don't know. So I think people are just getting tired of it. He's been getting cheered more. And Roman is officially the face in this feud. Even the crowd will probably cheer for him if he wins in 3 weeks. Maybe, who knows? It's Brooklyn. 75 subs to go to 1,000. Yep, we got 925. One is Alexander defending his cruiserweight title at SummerSlam, actually. Hopefully on the main show, but probably put on the pre-show. Lashley's one of the best actual wrestlers in the world. Don't you agree? I definitely agree he is, but they're giving him crappy stuff to deal with, such as botching Rock and Robin. But yeah, just doing some roll call with a live chat real quick here to see. So far we got Robbie and we got Dakota. Just come on in, guys. Grab your popcorn. It's gonna be a long night because I brought some for myself. Burnt a little bit, but oh well. So guys, let's get started now with the top 10 SummerSlam moments first. Now, since usually I just go back and forth like to the live chat and whatnot after so many numbers, but I'll do half of the list first before I go back to the live chat. So if you're in a live chat, just stay patient with me. I will get back to you. First, I'll read a little bit of my notes. Okay, let's do this. So, my top 10 SummerSlam moments. Number 10 is when Shawn Michaels planted the seeds for the Bret Hart feud at SummerSlam 1997 in that main event match between Bret Hart and The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels was a special guest referee. Of course, there are already some, history brewing up between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, but there also was some stuff brewing up also between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels as well. And, Bret Hart had been the heel now after he officially turned heel in that famous double turn at WrestleMania 13 when he faced Stone Cold Steve Austin in that awesome submission match. That's definitely one of the best matches of all time, I feel, in my opinion. And so, Bret Hart was continuing to, push Shawn Michaels' buttons throughout the match. And then Michaels finally had enough of it. So he has a super kick on Bret Hart, of course. And then that's what leads to The Undertaker pinning Bret Hart to get the victory and to win the title. And then, of course, that sets up, for what happened at Survivor Series 1997 with the Montreal Screwjob as well. So, I mean, yes, it was a real moment with, Bret refusing to lose to Shawn. So Vince literally did screw him before, since Bret was on his way out the door to go to WCW anyway. And I think, that was definitely like a very, well-known moment in history. And, again, I've watched all the SummerSlams now, so I could definitely, feel like it'd be credible to talk about it. So, so because of that, I put this on this list as my number 10 for the top 10 moments happening at SummerSlam. SummerSlam 1997 is when Shawn Michaels planted the seeds for the feud for Bret Hart down the line for Survivor Series 1997, leading to the Montreal Screwjob. So that's why it's my number 10 on this list is Shawn Michaels super kicking Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1997. Number 9 is from SummerSlam 2004. Randy Orton became the youngest world champion ever. At 24 years old, Randy Orton faced Chris Benoit in the main event of SummerSlam 2004. Despite the fact that there wasn't much of a story leading into this match, other than the fact that Orton won a battle royale. And of course, it was during time of Evolution as well, where like this was starting to feel where the cracks are starting to form. That like Orton and even Batista in 2005 when he got his big babyface singles push started. The story was that Evolution was about nothing but Triple H getting everything he wants. It's Triple H being the heel who always feels like he's in power. And then because again, leading up to this match for Orton against Benoit, since Benoit had been the World Heavyweight Champion since WrestleMania 20. Yeah, that's what it was. 20 was when he won in the triple threat match against Triple H and HBK. After winning the Royal Rumble 2004, but we're supposed to forget about that because it's Chris Benoit. But again, Orton got into this match because he won a Battle Royale, and he won the match. And, it was a little bit emotional moment for Orton. He even shook hands with Chris Benoit out of some respect. So it was kind of like planting the seeds for the brief face turn that Orton had in 2004 before reverting back to being a heel in 2005. Of course, this led to Orton's moment of glory being taken away the following night on Raw. Whenever that famous turn of Triple H giving him the thumbs up while on the shoulders, I think it was Ric Flair, or heck it was, he was on his shoulders up, with thumbs down until Triple H was targeting Orton because he wanted the World Heavyweight Championship. Feeling like again, he has Evolution by his side, he can do whatever he wants. So Triple H will tell him, of course, to set plant the seeds for further down the line when Batista would then officially turn on Triple H also and challenge him for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 21 and win his first world title, despite the fact that Triple H wanted Batista to go to SmackDown and challenge, I believe, JBL for the WWE Championship that year. But that's not the case. Batista had enough of doing Triple H's dirty work, and he turned on him. But of course, at this moment, my number 9 is when Randy Orton made history, becoming the youngest world champion. He won the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2004. That's my number 9. Number 8, going back to the Hart family. 1994, the Hart family brawl after the steel cage match, which should have been the main event of that show, but nope, it was Undertaker versus Undertaker. Talk about that match when we get to the worst matches at SummerSlam. But anyways, so as I mentioned probably in a recent stream I did called the top 10 moments that could make someone a wrestling fan, I still personally feel this steel cage match in 1994 between Bret and Owen can make someone a wrestling fan, because it was one of those moments that it's like it had me wanting to see more. What happened here? It was a sibling rivalry between Bret and Owen. Owen was the heel trying to prove that he is better than his brother, Bret, and of course the person he had on his side was Jim Anvil Neidhart. Throughout the match, they were showing Jim and and the rest of the Hart family, who most of them were on Bret's side pretty much, in the crowd. And then, Bret and Owen were in the match, putting on a pretty darn good match. Of course, Bret would win, but after the match, Jim would get up and he would go into the ring and start attacking Bret with Owen. They locked the cage, and the rest of the family, got in there, and it was just literally just pure chaos. It was a family brawl, and of course, how could you not get behind, family versus family and just imploding like that? Pretty much, what was really everybody imploded? Just so many people, signed with Owen and whatnot. But I think it was definitely a chaotic moment to remember happening at SummerSlam. Is that brawl after the match of the steel cage? That's why my number 8 on this list is the Hart family brawl after the steel cage match at SummerSlam 1994. So number 8. Number 7, Shane's fall. SummerSlam 2000. Shane McMahon was the heel hardcore champion, taking on Steve Blackman. Of course, Shane McMahon having the background in mixed martial arts and judo, I believe it is. And then also he's hardcore champion. As he throws his body on the line for everything. Well, this match, Shane McMahon did that famous fall from 50 feet up high off of a stage post or whatever heck it is. I can't ever remember, what the technical term is for that. But throughout the night, again, hardcore champion had the 24 rule. Shane was walking around. He knew Blackman was lurking around, and the match could start any time pretty much, and someone could take the championship off of him, as well. So the match happens. Again, it was a good physical match. Just crazy stunts involving Shane McMahon, and of course, that moment when they're up high, where Blackman had Shane Shane were up high, but then I think Blackman hit Shane in the back with a couple of kendo stick strikes, and Shane fell from 50 feet above, and it's like it's up in the open, like he lands on just a couple of things, just regular announce tables, or even some like other equipment down below as well. It's just like it's one of those falls that's like you can't practice. I mean, I'm sure Shane's taken like done stunts like that before and whatnot, but this is one of those falls that's like like oh god, no, like it, like seeing that, like when you didn't know it would happen would freak the hell out of you. But yeah, I think it's just a great stunt. I still, though, to this day, in my opinion, still feel the best fall. I mean, that fall was dangerous enough. I feel like the most dangerous fall that Shane ever took was off of Hell in a Cell in 2017. And again, as I probably explained in my extreme special stream a couple weeks ago, was because, again, think about it. As Sami Zayn explained at Talk Is Jericho podcast, there were 3 lives on the line for that stunt, because that was when Sami Zayn turned heel, saving Kevin Owens from Shane McMahon. Think about it. Sami says, that's first, again, that's a stunt you cannot really practice the real thing, unless you throw like 240-pound bag of laundry off of the off the top of the cell. They had like 1.8 seconds pretty much to pull off that stunt. Shane was jumping off the cell, and Sami had to pull Kevin Owens off the table, which Kevin Owens claimed he had a bad back around that time also, so he wasn't getting up as quick as he probably could with a healthier back. But think about it, 3 lives on the line. First, there's Shane's, because if it's a crazy stunt, there's no guarantee he's going to live. There's Kevin Owens' life if Owens does, if Sami doesn't get Owens off of the table in time, and there's Sami, as he says, if I screw it up, I'm dead, pretty much. All 3 of them were pretty much dead. So yeah, it was definitely a very dangerous stunt, but I still think, that like as far as SummerSlam goes, Shane's fall from 50 feet up above from the stage was definitely an iconic moment as well. Just appreciate the fact that, the guy, people would go out of their way to, put their bodies on the line, that like how Mick Foley would. To definitely get people behind you and to take you seriously, like oh man, you would do that as well, but and sell it well also as well. So yep, that's why it's my number 7 on this list is Shane's fall at SummerSlam 2000. Number 6 is actually the most recent one on this list for moments, and it's from SummerSlam 2016. Finn Balor, despite only lasting 1 day, probably a little under 24 hours, probably 22 or 21 hours, because he had to relinquish it at the beginning of Raw. Finn Balor winning the first ever Universal Championship. Now, we talk about this a little bit more because it might be appearing in my Hidden Gems list, but I still feel bad about this match because this was a really good match between Balor and Rollins. These two work very well together. Like I can see them fight all the time. I wouldn't get sick of it. But of course, the crowd hijacked this match because they hated the belt. The Universal Championship design, again, I'm sorry, it's awful. It's lazy. It's literally just, the WWE Championship with just Shinsuke Nakamura's coat around it for the red instead of the just the regular black. They couldn't come up with another design. They couldn't just bring back the World Heavyweight Championship. Nope, of course not. That's too much to do. But because it was part of Finn Balor, who just came out of NXT as pretty much like the icon of NXT, being NXT champion for 292 days, defending it against the likes of, trying to think of who all defended against, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Apollo Crews, a couple of people here and there, I think, got championship opportunities as well. Just making that feel very prestige as the champion of the developmental brand as well. And, get on the main roster and get that rocket ship push to the main event of Raw was just unreal. Again, I still will not forget when he beat Roman Reigns clean on the July 25th, 2016 episode of Monday Night Raw. Again, I literally got up from my couch and did a victory lap around like the floor of my house. Like went through the dining room, into the kitchen, back to the entrance hall, back to the living room, to my couch. Like it was just a night I will not forget. And it was a sad that it all got taken away from so quickly because Balor suffered that shoulder injury, but was still able to put on a great match. He suffered that shoulder injury like within the first 5 minutes of the match, I believe he said in the Finn Balor 24 special. But So yeah, it was a new star rising to the top. Fortunately, didn't last that too long, and now he's sticking his head out of Finn's Funhouse and just smiling all the time. Yeah, had to do that. But that's numbers 10 to 6 so far on this list. Let's go over them again for my top 10 SummerSlam moments. Number 10 is Shawn Michaels plants the seeds for the Bret Hart feud at SummerSlam 1997 with the super kick as special guest referee. Number 9 is Randy Orton becoming the youngest world champion at SummerSlam 2004. Number 8 is the Hart family brawl at SummerSlam 1994. Number 7 is Shane's fall at SummerSlam 2000. Number 6 is Finn Balor becoming the first Universal Champion at SummerSlam 2016. Let's check the live chat. Let's see what we got here. Don't you want him over Lesnar? Roman? I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. I would rather have Roman over Lesnar. It's just, again, just, it's just like going through this booking again, just feeling like, Vince is pushing down our throats, like him. I want to cheer Roman, but again, when you book him in ways that looks like the company is trolling with us, that's what I can't stand. Again, I still feel Bobby Lashley deserves to be in that spot, but nope, it always has to be Roman. Again, he's a great wrestler, great talent, but again, stop booking him in ways that think you feel like, you're just like pushing him on us. So yeah. Where is Lauren? Not sure. Punk is returning to wrestling before ROH. Mysterio's coming back after All In, and Bryan is re-signing. Is it me, or is Bryan not that over anymore? I mean, I don't think Bryan is yeah, I do. Here's the thing: is I mentioned in my SmackDown review, right? Miz mentioning to Bryan, how people aren't pretty much saying you're not as that popular anymore or whatnot. I mean, people are happy Daniel Bryan's back, but I do think, for the long-term run while he was gone, people were satisfied with the fact that, his career is done and whatnot. So I feel like, that's called people be excited to come back, but not always want him to be, on top of the world the whole time and whatnot. And I feel like, this feud with The Miz could, again, get Bryan and could elevate The Miz to the main event level and also get Bryan back to the main event level as well. Which is why, again, I know Bryan is resigning, but, they could throw a curveball at us at SummerSlam, again, have a career-threatening match for Daniel Bryan. And, again, that could be the long-term storyline for, helping them to have a match eventually again at WrestleMania 35. Like I said before, what if they have, Daniel Bryan's the other side against him. He has to win the Royal Rumble match in order to get a championship match at WrestleMania. And if he doesn't win that match, he's gone for good. But he also has to win the title at WrestleMania, also have all the odds stacked against him or something like that. I definitely agree, though. Punk returning to ROH, that would be cool, though, but I'm not sure if he would do that. Wasn't this the night before he turned face? Yeah, it was. Triple H was a babyface all the way from 2006 to 2011. I thought he was a babyface from 2006 to 2013, I thought. And Batista was holding him up. He should have them, Batista would have the other title so they can both hold the main titles. That is true. Undertaker was hot garbage. Yeah, don't remind me. Matt Hardy is retiring. People think he sent a long tweet out thanking him, all of his fans throughout his whole career, through each one of his phrases, from being woken through the Mattitude era, through all. Yeah, I did see that. I mean, he could be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, really, because what else does he have really left to do, honestly? And what else is the leaders of the world is going to do also? Just if he does do that, I hope, Bray Wyatt still is a babyface as a single star. Who knows? They'll probably screw that up as well. Do you think WWE will change the design of the Universal Belt? And did you see where Nakamura talked about Lesnar's run in New Japan Pro Wrestling, how he was ungrateful and how he sued them? So his match against Nakamura, and it got taken off every site. Brock won the match. Also, I did not see that, not at all. But that is crazy. And I don't know if WWE will change the Universal title belt design, but I definitely think they should. Balor will win the belt again eventually, and Omega said he is thinking of leaving New Japan, coming to WWE, but Cody Rhodes, I heard, re-sign with ROH. I mean, I think Cody Rhodes, doesn't need to come back to WWE at this point. I mean, it'd be nice if he did, but, you're going to treat him like crap again. He doesn't need WWE to, be successful like he is today. Like Kenny Omega, I mean, if he wants to come, sure. I mean, I heard the rumors that he didn't want to come at one point, but if he wants to come, give it a try. Be my guest, buddy. Go for it. Do you think Alexander will retain at SummerSlam? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing have a little bit of a longer reign, but I'm not opposed to Drew Gulak getting the title either. Because here's the thing: Cedric Alexander was like when the Cruiserweight Championship happened, it seemed pretty much obvious that Cedric Alexander was the best of the cruiserweights pretty much. I feel like he didn't really need like a long title reign to prove that. And I feel like, again, the stars like, Mustafa Ali, Buddy Murphy, even like Drew Gulak have been built up very great ever since the Triple H took over. So I wouldn't be opposed to Gulak getting the belt. But the thing is that once the Alexander drops the belt, I want to see Alexander do more than just a cruiserweight division. Because again, if he drops the belt, then what else is he going to do? Again, what's going to make me still feel too like I still feel a little bit sour about 205 Live with the fact that I don't want them to be held down to just the crew division. Here's the thing: if you're not going to hold people down to just the crew division, you can say, oh, you can go wrestle, for the IC title or the world title, whatnot, as Alexander should be. Then you know what? I want to be opposed to guys like Finn Balor or even Sami Zayn or a few other lightweights, or Neville's already gone, or like Rey Mysterio. I wouldn't be opposed to some people like that, taking some chances in the cruiserweight division as well. But if they're going to be just stuck that and they can't do anything else again, then I'd be like, don't go to the cruiserweight division. It's not worth your time there, or whatnot. So we got that. The cruiserweight title only defended on 205 Live at the Big Four pay-per-views. So the next thing we will get is the 205 Live Royal Rumble at Royal Rumble. Nah, no thanks. I don't need that. But I guess it's only being defended the big pay-per-views or whatnot. We're getting 205 Live tag titles. Heard rumors about that. Maybe it may have been 2013. I can remember when the Authority started in 2013. Bray Wyatt isn't as entertaining as a babyface. True, but his heel run was dead, I thought. So, he has a lot of options, I feel, as a babyface. But that's a respected opinion, though, I understand. Because, him and Matt done the best they can when they're tag champions, but, it's only something they can do. They were winning, but nothing really else they could really do. Let's get back to the list with my top, the top 5 now for the top 10 SummerSlam moments. Number 5 is a segment from SummerSlam 2008. So Shawn Michaels came out with his wife, Rebecca. And recently, this was in the midst of the feud between Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho, probably one of the best feuds of 2008. Excuse me, by far. And, he came out, he had recently suffered an eye injury from Chris Jericho. He came out, and Shawn mentions how, he feels for most of his career, he didn't listen to the doctors. But now he feels like he may have to, because he needs to do what's best for himself, his health, and his family, and whatnot. So it looked like he was pretty much just about to announce his retirement. Before he did so, out came Chris Jericho, and he says, no, it's not going to end this way. You are going to say right now and go home and say to your kids that your career ended because of Chris Jericho. He kept pushing on him. Michaels wouldn't do it. And then Jericho goes to punch Michaels, but Michaels gets out of the way. And Jericho, which, it was planned for Jericho to look like he hit Rebecca. But I hear apparently on the podcast between Jericho and Michaels, Jericho actually legitimately did hit with his full force Rebecca with a full force punch. And he knocked her out. Again, remind me of what happened recently with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, when Ciampa pushed Gargano into Candice LeRae on the steel steps. I just remember that's just a bold moment that really took like a feud in 2008 that, again, a feud that, I wish I would have been watching live back then to see, like, the whole thing live. I definitely, that is one feud I think I am going to go back and, like, watch all the Raws and whatnot in between the times of that feud, because I want to see that feud. As Jericho says, it was a feud that was only supposed to last, like, one night, just have that one match at Judgment Day, wherever it was. Because, Chris Jericho's referee in a match where Shawn Michaels did everything he could to win the match, even faked a knee injury. But they took it so much far and ended up being a 7-month feud, and it was awesome. And again, this segment right there just took things to a whole nother level. So that's why my number 5 is Shawn Michaels I mean, it's Chris Jericho punching Shawn Michaels' wife Rebecca in the face at SummerSlam 2008. So we got that one. Number 4 is from one of the best main events in SummerSlam history, one of the best matches of all time in SummerSlam history as well. The Intercontinental Championship main event at SummerSlam 1992, and it was the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith winning the Intercontinental Championship in SummerSlam 1992. And excuse me for a second, I'm going to actually open up the windows because it's getting very hot in here. If you don't mind me singing for a second, it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. Nope, not going to do that. You don't need to see my voice down there, guys. Yeah, sorry, I should get some air in here. It's pretty hot. Well, as I always say, to people, whenever it's hot, I'm like, well, I'm here, guys, so, it's going to steam up. But yeah, so anyway, so my number 4 on this list is when Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, won the Intercontinental Championship in the main event of SummerSlam 1992. The story being told there, it was a face-on-face feud, but, it was shown, Bret Hart was, about ready to be bumped. He'd been in the, the mid-card scene for the past few years, and this was him pretty much, getting ready to move up into the main event scene as well, as because in 1993, he, at WrestleMania 10, he, 1993 was WrestleMania 9. I'm sorry. Not the good WrestleMania, but Bret Hart was getting ready to move up to another level to the main event scene as well. And this is him, trying to, put over, his kayfabe relative, the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. And again, Bret was reverting to heel tactics in this match as well to make him look dominating and make Davey Boy Smith look dominating as well. Of course, the big family celebration at the end as well, him shaking hands, then pointing him over. But it was just a great moment, and I definitely agree it's one of the best matches of all time for SummerSlam and altogether as well. And just a way to make, the mid-card championship look very prestige at SummerSlam, and also by being in the main event. That's why my number 4 on this list is British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith defeating Bret the Hitman Hart at SummerSlam 1992 to become the Intercontinental Champion in the main event. We see here. So, Truck, you got number 3 from SummerSlam 2002 is Shawn Michaels' return. So Shawn Michaels got injured, I believe, in a casket match at the Royal Rumble in 1998, I think it was. 98, I think it was. He was gone for 4 years, and he suffered a back injury. It looked to be career-ending. Of course, years later, as I said, if you haven't watched it yet, check it out. But on the WWE Network, they have a few WWE rivalries documentaries, and one of them is Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And Shawn, while he was gone for 4 years, had been teaching wrestling and whatnot, and obviously felt that he could still do it. So at first it's gonna be just a one-off thing. At SummerSlam 2002, with him wrestling one more match, and he wanted to do it against his real-life best friend, Triple H, and a story being told there, which was awesome. Of course, the feud would go on for longer than that and prove that Shawn Michaels was healthy and it wasn't a fluke, and he was, worthy of wrestling on a full schedule once again. The boyhood dream came true. So again, it all got started with, him returning. And then Triple H, turned heel on him and attacked him pretty much because, the story of this is, when Triple H first came around, Shawn Michaels in the spotlight. When Shawn Michaels went down, Triple H took that spotlight, and now Shawn Michaels is back. He feels threatened by Triple H feels threatened by Shawn Michaels. So he literally beat the hell out of Shawn Michaels on several occasions to the fact that it looked like Shawn was going to be able to wrestle, but Shawn says he's cleared. So how about we sell this in the ring at, let's say, SummerSlam 2002, one of the best SummerSlams of all time, definitely top 3 or even top 2. So they have an unsanctioned match, and Triple H. No, I'm sorry. I think Shawn Michaels did get the victory, but Triple H got the upper hand, attack him afterwards. But it was just him returning and showing that he was worthy of wrestling on a full-time schedule again. It was an unreal moment. So that's why I gave it my number 3 is Shawn Michaels' return at SummerSlam 2002. Number 2 is from SummerSlam 1991, the wedding between Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. Now, although the irony was around this time also in real life, that's when Savage and Elizabeth's marriage was starting to fall apart, and they got divorced like a year later. I think it was in 1992. But storyline-wise, it was, what happened with, the Mega Powers, where, like Hulk Hogan was having something to do with Miss Elizabeth, which caused them to explode, and that set up a feud between the two of them for WrestleMania 5, I believe it was. Yeah, WrestleMania 5. I believe, and then of course they had the reunion. I think at WrestleMania 8, I think it was. Whenever it was Savage in that career-threatening match against the Ultimate Warrior, and they had the reunion after Sensational Sherry was beating down Savage, and then Miss Elizabeth came out to save him, and they patched things together, and then they, storyline-wise, got married at SummerSlam 1991. This is a good ending to this love story. Had its downs, but overcame the hurdle and came right back up. But that is my number 2 on the list. So again, I'll try to live chat to my number 1, but let's go through the top 10s to the 10 again before we get to number 1. Number 10 is when Shawn Michaels planned to seize for the Bret Hart feud at SummerSlam 1997 with the super kick in the main event. Number 9 is Randy Orton becoming the youngest world champion at SummerSlam 2004. Number 8 is the Hart Family Brawl at SummerSlam 1994. Number 7 is Shane McMahon's fall from 50 feet above at SummerSlam 2000. Number 6 is Finn Balor becoming the first Universal Champion. Number 5 is Chris Jericho assaulting Shawn Michaels' wife at SummerSlam 2008. Number 4 is the British Bulldog winning the IC title at SummerSlam 1992. Number 3 is HBK's return at SummerSlam 2002. Number 2 is Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth's wedding at SummerSlam 1991. And number 1, most of you know me very well, you got to guess it already, is, of course, the moment that I still say made me a wrestling fan, from the pay-per-view that made me a wrestling fan. SummerSlam 2013, the birth of the Authority. So throughout Summer 2013, Daniel Bryan was trying to prove that he was not the weak link of Team Hell No, and that he is more than just a tag team champion or just a mid-carder. He wants to prove that he can be a world champion and the face of this company as well. And when he proved himself, and then when John Cena was given the opportunity to select his own opponent for his match at SummerSlam, which rumors have it apparently the match between John Cena and Daniel Bryan was the first scheduled to take place at Money in the Bank. But then Mr. McMahon thought that this match was too good. They had to keep it till SummerSlam, which was the right move to go with. Again, John Cena and Daniel Bryan had an excellent match. Was it the best match of the night, though? I still think another match outdid him by just a little bit that night. We will talk about that next week for the best and worst matches of all time for SummerSlam. But yeah, Daniel Bryan overcoming John Cena clean also. You don't beat John Cena clean that often to get the victory. Of course, again, Triple H was a special guest referee, and people were against, well, kayfabe-wise, people like Mr. McMahon or Brad Max, a lot of people were against having Daniel Bryan being the face of the company, saying that he's short, he's a goat face and whatnot. Maybe we got fix him up a little bit, but of course Bryan just wanted it to be him and and beat John Cena at SummerSlam. Of course, Triple H though was the guy who was being he was being down the middle, but he was also showing that he wasn't playing favorites, but he was showing the fact that he did have faith in Daniel Bryan since everybody else didn't. And that played to the fact that Randy Orton was teasing the heel turn around the time, lurking around with the money, maybe saying, hey, I can cash this in. And it looked like Orton was going to cash in on Bryan first, because they did kind of have history from that month. Bryan Orton had a non-pay-per-view feud, pretty much just especially in that no disqualification match that Bryan Orton had back in June. Again, that was part of the storyline of building up Bryan to feel like a serious contender, making him like the hottest act going in 2013. So they had the history there, and Orton seemed like he was going to tease cash first. I was like, no, he's not going to do it. But then he walked away, seemed to stop and want to come back, but he wasn't turning around. And Triple H turns heel for the first time since 2006, hitting Bryan with the pedigree and having Orton to cash in because he's the one that Triple H feels should be the face of the company, and that is Randy Orton as well. It planted the seeds for a great storyline leading up to WrestleMania. At first, I still cannot believe they were not going to go with this. Let's bygones be bygones. Let Bryan look like a loser from the Authority and have him feud with Sheamus. Why? Why are we going to have Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus for the third time at WrestleMania? It made no sense. I mean, yes, for a mid-card feud, baby, but around that time, you had the perfect storyline in place. You were just going to throw it all away and make Daniel Bryan look like a loser and have him fight Sheamus at WrestleMania 30. I don't know. But thank goodness we didn't go that route, and Daniel Bryan would eventually overcome all the odds and beat the Authority and all the obstacles thrown at him at WrestleMania 30, becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The night he beat Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton. It's an unreal night. Still one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time, I gotta say. So that's my number one. Is Daniel Bryan? I mean, not Daniel Bryan. Is the birth of the Authority at SummerSlam 2013? So my list once again. Number 10, Shawn Michaels super kicking Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1997 as special guest referee. Number 9 is Orton becoming the youngest world heavyweight champion at SummerSlam 2004. Number 8 is the Hart family brawl at SummerSlam 1994. Number 7 is Shane McMahon's fall at SummerSlam 2000. Number 6 is Finn Balor becoming the first ever Universal Champion at SummerSlam 2016. Number 5 when Chris Jericho punches Shawn Michaels' wife Rebecca at SummerSlam 2008. Number 4 is when the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith won the IC title in the main event of SummerSlam 1992. Number 3 was Shawn Michaels' return at SummerSlam 2002. Number 2 was Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth's wedding at SummerSlam 1991. And number 1 was the birth of the Authority at SummerSlam 2013. Nothing new in the live chat. That is completely fine, but that's the top 10 list, my top 10 SummerSlam moments. Now let's move on to the second half of this stream, which is my top 10 SummerSlam hidden gems. Now, I mentioned before, I've already done my list for the best SummerSlam matches of all time. We'll talk about that next week, along with the worst SummerSlam matches of all time. Because again, as I said before, I watched all the SummerSlams over the past couple months, so I do feel like I do have a good knowledge of, like, not the greatest, but a good knowledge, like, what are some of the good and not so good matches. So, but I didn't take this as like, oh, this was, would be my 11 to 20. No, I took, like, legitimate matches that may not be one of the greatest SummerSlam matches of all time. A couple of them may be up there, though, in the rankings, but especially my number 1 is more of an honorable mention from ones that didn't make the top 10 SummerSlams. But I do think that these hidden gems are definitely a good list. So I like to hear, your list as well. If anybody else comes back to the live chat, because it seems like Dakota checked out, but that is completely fine. So let's get on with this list. For my top 10 hidden gems for SummerSlam, we're going to start off with number 10. Now, I was able to come up with 9 pretty quickly here for this list, but 10th one I had a hard time. So I just looked around at some of the SummerSlam cards, seeing ones like, okay, what I consider this a hidden gem, or just just a was what it was match. Well, this match was kind of thrown there because I felt like, I like the story that was told behind it. It was a very simple storyline, and that was CM Punk versus JBL at SummerSlam 2008 in the World Heavyweight Championship match. Now, here's the thing again. CM Punk, despite being a fan favorite, and he had 2 runs with the World Heavyweight Championship earlier in his career after he won the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2008 and 2009. Obviously, his second run as World Heavyweight Champion was a lot better than his first one. But, of course, the story behind him being, the World Heavyweight Champion in himself, he was an underdog world champion still trying to prove himself. And JBL was taking advantage, and I think he was so much better than him because he had been, a world champion and WWE champion several times as well. So I like the simple storyline tell here. And the match they had, wasn't anything, amazing, but I thought it was, a solid to good match that had CM Punk, overcome, prove the critics wrong, the fact that he was not just, an underdog world champion. He literally did belong in this spot at the top. I cannot remember, though, who won the championship off of him, though, later on that year. But I thought it was a good match to put him over as a strong world heavyweight champion, I thought. So that's why it is my number 10 on this list is CM Punk versus JBL at SummerSlam 2008. Number 9 is a women's match, and I think it is the first women's championship match I can remember. I might have been first women's championship match to take place at SummerSlam. And seeing this match, was it one of the greatest matches of all time? Definitely not. But I thought it was a good women's match compared to what we got back in the days, because women's wrestling didn't feel legit. And also, of course, because, you know, during the TV 14 era, the women were just there to show off their boobs and asses, pretty much. But I thought this match is a very underrated women's match. Doesn't get talked about too much. That's why I put it on this list here. And that is from SummerSlam 1994. Alundra Blaze and I list one off the screen for that. Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano. I, again, really thought, you know, Bull Nakano being, like, you know, the bigger heel, whatnot, she played, like, a good role and being taken as, like, a threat to Alundra Blaze. I think it was a year after that, she wrestled someone like, you know, joke. So one who was like she was the joke, wasn't like legit at all, beat her with, like, in a weak looking way. But I thought this match was definitely a great way to put it over. One, it made, you know, brought the best in Alundra Blaze, and it was Bull Nakano. We're looking like that she was a legitimate threat to Alundra Blaze's championship, and I thought it just told like a nice simple story there, and it was one of the first, you know, solid women's matches that we've seen really in WWE history, especially at SummerSlam as well. So that's why it is my number 9 on this list, is Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano for the WWF Women's Championship at SummerSlam 1994. So we got that. Number 8 from SummerSlam 2014 is personally one of my favorite lumberjack matches. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in a lumberjack match. Now, thinking about SummerSlam 2014, yes, they had a lot of good matches. I feel that is definitely an underrated SummerSlam. However, the problem is pretty much all the matches made all the losers look weak. And yes, I mean, you know, sometimes that has to be a case to happen, you know, give people their comeuppance. But there was a lot of people on the show that was like, you know, getting like their first taste was like single stars for SummerSlam and whatnot, and on the main roster as well. And it was one of those occasions. Now, this match, of course, you know, Seth Rollins won. I don't think, you know, Dean Ambrose was a complete idiot coming out of the match, but of course, you know, tension. I think you think about lumberjack matches. I don't like how sometimes, you know, like, you know, random tensions just fired at the lumberjacks for no apparent reason whatsoever, because, oh, this guy's a bad guy and he's standing next to, you know, a good guy like him. Like, you know, it just, like, it drives you insane. You know, they just think that way. Like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you know, it's because, like, I can be standing next to a guy that could be bad, and I don't know him too well. I'm going to punch him in the face because I'm supposed to think, oh, he's a bad guy, so boom. No, it doesn't make any sense. This one, I felt it created that tension because the involvement from Corporate Kane, though didn't really like the Corporate Kane character. You know, it made sense for the lumberjacks to go crazy. And of course, the reason behind the lumberjack match game was because Seth Rollins would stop just running away from Dean Ambrose and everyone else. You know, of course, you know, the match, you know, went outside of the ring and into the crowd. And I just thought, you know, the chaos in this match was written very well, and it was made this match, you know, an enjoyable lumberjack match to watch. So that's why I definitely want to give this match the credit it deserves, making it my number 8 on this list. Was Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in the lumberjack match at SummerSlam 2014. Move on now to number 7. It's from SummerSlam 2009. It was the Intercontinental Championship match between Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler. Hi, I'm Dolph. He had that gimmick behind him. I like this match because, you know, we already knew at the time, you know, Rey Mysterio had been the world champion. He'd been a Intercontinental champion, I think, a few times around this time, and he's feuding with an upstart in Dolph Ziggler as well, who, you know, came in strong. Unfortunately, though, you know, he hasn't really been booked most consistently throughout his career. He recently gained a push with the IC title, which has been all right. But I think this match was one of the first matches that made Dolph Ziggler look like a true star against Rey Mysterio. I think that it was a great opener to SummerSlam 2009, a show that wasn't bad, not one of the best SummerSlams, but it wasn't one of the worst either. And I think, you know, it was just a match that made Dolph Ziggler look like a true star, and that he belonged on the main roster as a singles competitor as well. Despite the fact he lost a match to Rey Mysterio, it was still fine because he lost looking strong. So a great opener that definitely, you know, deserves more credit than it definitely gets. That's why it is my number 7 on this list is Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 2009. Another match I feel is very underrated. And despite the fact that the champion in this match I've never been a fan of, but I thought this match told us a great story, was from SummerSlam 2013, Alberto Del Rio versus Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship. Del Rio was the heel champion. Christian was the babyface who I think won a triple threat match or some type of a number one contenders match to get into this match. Now Christian, being towards the end of his career at this time, again he had a heel run in 2011. He had turned face though in 2012 and was still a babyface around this time, saying that I think something I had to realize what his best friend Edge went through. You don't know when your career's going to end, so he wants to take every moment and cherish for it. And this was him just trying to get one more match for the World Heavyweight Champion, knowing also this could be one of his last chances as well to become World Heavyweight Champion. And the match has told that story. Del Rio, again, despite the fact I've never been a fan of him, was still probably booked pretty well as World Heavyweight Champion at this time. And Christian was being the underdog baby faces, taking trying to get through any obstacle he can, showing that he knew this was his last chance. So he was fighting with all the heart he got, and unfortunately came up a little bit short towards the end, tapping out to the armbar. But it showed that Christian had a lot of heart and fought tooth and nail to try to get the opportunity for one last time to be World Heavyweight Champion. And it's an underrated match. Definitely deserves a lot more credit for being still, I think, the best SummerSlam of all time, but definitely gets overlooked by John Cena and Daniel Bryan. And another match, of course, I'll talk about that next week in my SummerSlam top 10 best and worst matches of all time. But definitely I feel this match, is very underrated, deserves a lot of credit because it tells a great story and everything, is Alberto Del Rio versus Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2013. So far, my 10 to 6 for the second list. Number 10, CM Punk versus JBL for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2008. Number 9 is Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano for the WWF Women's Championship at SummerSlam 1994. Number 8 is Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in a lumberjack match at SummerSlam 2014. Number 7 is Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 2009. And number 6 is Christian versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2013. Of course, moving on now to our top 5 now for my top 10 SummerSlam Hidden Gems. Number 5, we kind of talked about this match a little bit before in the moments, but my number 5 is from SummerSlam 2016. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the debuting WWE Universal Championship. And again, as I said before, this match got crapped on because, one, here's the problem I had with SummerSlam 2016. It wasn't a terrible show, but it fell out of whack again because the card structure was not good. You had John Cena versus AJ Styles, I think, 4th out of 10 or 11 matches, and it burned out the crowd. And also, again, the design of the belt is awful. And that's why people crapped on it during this match. But again, as I said before, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, gotta give them credit. They have amazing chemistry together, and they work together so well. And also keep in mind, Finn Balor wrestled through this match injured for probably a good 80% of the match, since he suffered a shoulder injury at the beginning of the match, taking that being thrown into the barricade and whatnot, and hurting his shoulder. But they choose to have very similar styles. They fought really good together. Again, as I said before, it was Finn Balor getting that rocket ship push up to being a main event star, and unfortunately only lasted for one day, but it was still an unbelievable match, a great moment for Finn Balor as well. He still can't get taken away from him. So that's why it's my number 5 on this list is Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the debuting Universal Championship at SummerSlam 2016. Number 4, going back to the World Heavyweight Championship, SummerSlam 2011. Christian versus Randy Orton in a no-holds-barred match for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was the summer where not only was it the summer of Punk, but it was also the summer of a feud between Randy Orton and Christian. I believe I listened to a podcast one time. They were told that, they were two of the biggest stars on SmackDown, which of course was right around a time where the brand split was being dropped, and they're making it Raw Super Show, and superstars were wrestling on both Raw and SmackDown. But on SmackDown, like the two hottest stars at the time were, no doubt about it, Randy Orton and Christian, since Edge was forced to retire. So Christian won his first world title despite the help from his friend at Extreme Rules in the ladder match against Del Rio. And then Christian was forced to defend his title 5 days later and lost it. Of course, once Orton kept beating him, Christian finally snapped and turned heel, and finally was just desperate to get that world title back. Was going on his way getting lawyers and just making little excuses after all the matches, where it was, bad, a referee made a bad call or a couple other little things. Something small would happen. He would point out, hey, that happened. I deserve another chance. And then finally go as far as that Money in the Bank, where Christian was just taking advantage of Orton's anger issues, and he knew that he was getting under Orton's skin. So he thought, if I do the same thing, how about this? We're gonna have another match at Money in the Bank, and if Randy Orton gets counted out or disqualified, anything, he can lose the championship. It's not championship advantage anymore. So Christian took advantage of that and spit on Orton, and Orton just beat the shit out of him, but Christian didn't care. He was still the world heavyweight champion. And of course, Orton wanted his rematch, and then of course, storyline-wise, you'd think, for a champion like that, you lose respect for him. So that's the case, and Triple H made the match for Christian to earn that respect back. After Christian threatened to sue the company, but pretty much, Triple H back in the corner and saying, earn that respect back by facing Randy Orton in a no-holds-barred match. And at first, he thought he had the upper hand by getting Edge to be in his corner, but then Edge admitted, I'm still not cleared yet, but I was proud of you. But then all you did was complain, and you just went out of your way, and to say, hey, I did some crazy stuff in this ring too. Don't believe it or not, like a live sex celebration with Lita. But he's like, you won the championship back through disqualification, and just before walking on the ring, pretty much just told Christian, you're just a complainer, a whiny, cranky little bitch, or whatever he said, and he walked out of the ring, and leaving Christian by himself. However, Orton came out. There was still a nice 20-30 minute match they had, or whatever heck it was. The weapons were used well, and also Christian, despite the fact feeling like he was doomed, didn't look like a complete joke though as a champion. It looked like Christian was having a chance to beat Randy Orton in this match. How the two brought out the best in them. Of course, it was just a perfect blood feud. Well, they had one more match 2 weeks later as Christian got his rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship in a steel cage match against Orton. But again, I felt they still made Christian look like a legitimate star though in this match as well. And that's why it is my number 4 on this list is Christian versus Randy Orton in a no-holds-barred match for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2011. Number 3, this match, again, holds a special place in my heart because I saw this match live at SummerSlam 2015 in Brooklyn, New York. I saw this match live. John Cena versus Seth Rollins in a title-for-title match. Cena was the United States champion. Rollins was the WWE World Heavyweight champion. This match was awesome. Again, despite the fact that they booked Seth Rollins as a coward champion, whatnot, just run away from everything. This was a match I feel, he was John Cena did bring out the best out of Seth Rollins. Like, hey, he didn't really need any help to win this match. But yes, John Stewart came out and, somewhat helped out because he said he didn't want to see Ric Flair's record be broken. But Seth Rollins looked strong in this match. This is where I think Seth Rollins, again, he started like a top star, I felt, in the triple threat match at the Royal Rumble 2015 with him, Cena, and Brock Lesnar. That was an amazing triple threat match. But I think that the fans fully gained the respect for him was, even though the fact that also he was the hero at WrestleMania 31, but was this match also, he looked like a legitimate star. And it was a crown moment for him because he became the first man to ever hold both the United States and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which is why it is my number 3 on this list, is the title match at SummerSlam 2015 between Seth Rollins and John Cena for both the United States and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It was an awesome match, and again, I loved it. Number 2, from SummerSlam 2002, this opening match was awesome. Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle. It was still early in Rey Mysterio's career, and facing a guy called Kurt Angle, who won an Olympic gold medal, in case you didn't know. I thought this was just a really, great, fired up match. Kurt Angle was at his best. I thought he brought out the best in Rey Mysterio. I can't remember who won the match. I haven't seen it for a while, but it was just a kickoff match to one of the best SummerSlams of all time. And I thought, again, it built a new star in Rey Mysterio, being, the little guy, but, being a true, big star that people can get behind. And, Kurt Angle just being the awesome talent that he is. And I thought this match was definitely, probably could be one of the best, if not the best opener in SummerSlam history, which is why it is my number 2 on this list. I mean, Kurt Angle, of course, had a lot of other great SummerSlam matches, like him and Brock, I think, at SummerSlam 2003. He was involved in the triple threat match between him, Rock, and Triple H at SummerSlam 2000. That's when that, love triangle between Stephanie McMahon, Kurt Angle, and Triple H was going on as well. Of course, Rock was kind of just there. And he also had a good match in 2001, but with him and Steve Austin, when Austin had turned heel. And this was when, it was WCW versus ECW versus WWF at the time also. But I think this is still definitely a hidden gem, overlooked, especially for the fact that he made Rey Mysterio look a big star also, which is why it's my number 2 on this list. So let me look back so far. Let's do 2 to 10, well, 10 to 2 again for the top 10 SummerSlam Hidden Gems. Number 10, CM Punk versus JBL for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2008. Number 9, Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano for the WWF Women's Championship at SummerSlam 1994. Number 8 is Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in the Lumberjack match at SummerSlam 2014. Number 7 is Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 2009. Number 6 is Christian versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2013. Number 5, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the WWE Universal Championship at SummerSlam 2016. Number 4 is Christian versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship in a no-holds-barred match at SummerSlam 2011. Number 3 is John Cena versus Seth Rollins in the title-for-title match at SummerSlam 2015. Number 2 is Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam 2002. Number 1 on this list is a match that, to me, is not quite a hidden gem, but it was definitely an honorable mention for one of the top 10 matches of all time at SummerSlam. And I had to put it on this list. I had to talk about it some way, but it is from SummerSlam 2005. It is one of the best feuds, a really good feud. I could say maybe one of the best feuds of all time, or at least underrated feud of all time. And that is Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio in the ladder match for custody of Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic. Playing a story in there how, Eddie Guerrero was just obsessed with the fact that he could not beat Rey Mysterio. He wanted to prove the fact that he knew he could beat Rey Mysterio. So he went out of his way to attack the fact that he claimed that Dominic was actually his son. There was some real life facts. Well, Dominic was not Guerrero's real life son, but there was some facts that some stuff going on from real life Eddie Guerrero that they kind of put into this to make it look like that it could be real. And Eddie Guerrero's now just attacking, Mysterio, mentally to be able to overcome him and finally beat him. And I thought this match was definitely amazing, just out of the way, just fighting for rights of Dominic as well. And I thought it was just a great story being told there as well as a great match with two, guys with similar styles, great friends in real life, and also with it being Eddie's final SummerSlam match as he passed away later on that year of heart issues. It was just amazing. Again, it may be a little bit more than just an underrated match, but again, I put it as my number 1 because this one match I feel like, deserved to be in the top 10, but didn't quite make it with the other matches on the list. So I put it as my number 1 here, and my top 10 SummerSlam Hidden Gems is Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio in the ladder match at SummerSlam 2005 for custody of Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic. And guys, those are the lists. I'll go back now, though, and read both of the lists again from this special stream, then take a quick little break, and I'll be back up here again for my second stream of the night, which is talking some baseball. So first, let's do the top 10 SummerSlam moments again. Number 10 was when Shawn Michaels super kicked Bret Hart in the main event of SummerSlam 1990. I'm sorry, in the main event of SummerSlam 1997, setting up for their feud for the fall, which led to the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series 1997. Number 9 was when Randy Orton became the youngest world champion at SummerSlam 2004. Number 8 is the Hart family brawl at SummerSlam 1994. Number 7 is Shane McMahon's fall at SummerSlam 2000. Number 6 is Finn Balor becoming the first ever Universal Champion at SummerSlam 2016. Number 5 was when Chris Jericho punched Shawn Michaels' wife Rebecca at SummerSlam 2008. Number 4 was when British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith won the IC title at SummerSlam 1992. Number 3 is HBK's return at SummerSlam 2002. Number 2 is the wedding between the Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth at SummerSlam 1991. And number 1 is the birth of the Authority at SummerSlam 2013. For the top 10 SummerSlam Hidden Gems, we had number 10, CM Punk versus JBL for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2008. Number 9 is Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano for the WWF Women's Championship at SummerSlam 1994. Number 8 is Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins in a lumberjack match at SummerSlam 2014. Number 7 is Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 2009. Number 6 is Christian versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2013. Number 5 is Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam 2016. Number 4, Christian versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship in the No Holds Barred match at SummerSlam 2011. Number 3 is John Cena versus Seth Rollins in the title for title match at SummerSlam 2015. Number 2 is Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio in the opening match of SummerSlam 2002. And number 1 is Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero in the ladder match for custody of Dominic at SummerSlam 2005. Oh, well, Dakota cut out. I haven't been in a lot of chat for most of the stream, but that's okay. If you watch this afterwards, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below of what are your top 10 SummerSlam moments and SummerSlam top 10 hidden gems. Also, underrated matches of all time. So leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And make sure as always to click buy, like, and subscribe more content on this channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. I'll be back up here again probably in a little bit. I said for 11, may start a little bit earlier for my second live stream of the night, talking some baseball. So you want to talk some baseball? Come on right in and we'll chat. So guys, thank you again for joining me again live. Again, hopefully you enjoyed this list, these 2 top 10 lists of my SummerSlam moments and top 10 SummerSlam hidden gems. Next week will be my top 10 best and worst SummerSlam matches of all time. The following week will be the best and worst SummerSlams of all time. And leading right into SummerSlam 2018. Hopefully it is better than last year's Summer. Last year's SummerSlam, complete dumpster fire. So until then, guys, I will see you all in a little bit. I'm checking out, guys. Peace out, everybody. Have a great night.